Back in February, a story broke that made headlines for a couple of days and then completely vanished from existence. That story was one we actually talked about here on Ring of Fire. And it was about the fact that baby foods, the most popular baby foods here in the United States, were found to contain dangerous levels of toxic heavy metals. Lead, arsenic, cadmium, mercury, heavy metals that in some instances the FDA says there's literally no safe limit for exposure in the human body. This information came as the result of a congressional report. And it's because back in, I believe it was 2017, the FDA decided, hey, we're going to look at this because we actually don't regulate this. Believe it or not, folks, these toxic heavy metals that have been found in popular baby foods, a lot of them by Gerber, but also in plenty of other baby foods as well, the FDA doesn't regulate that. So technically, even though, as this congressional report points out, these companies knew about the toxic levels of heavy metals, they didn't actually break any laws because the FDA doesn't regulate these kinds of things in baby foods. Is it a problem? Yes, absolutely. What do these toxic heavy metals do? Well, according to the report here, the reality is that concerning levels of lead, arsenic, mercury, and cadmium can routinely be found in many foods, including rice, sweet potatoes, carrots, juices, and spices. The contamination is happening throughout the food supply, not just baby food, which means that parents cannot avoid heavy metals simply by making their own baby food. Even exceedingly small amounts of these neurotoxins can impede a child's IQ, hinder brain development, lead to behavioral problems, increase cancer risk, and raise the chances of many other diseases. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, for example, maintains there's no known safe blood level of lead in children. And here we are, going about our day, thinking that these government agencies, especially the FDA, is regulating things like this, is even monitoring things like this. But no, it didn't even dawn on them till 2017 that maybe this is something they got to start paying attention to. And as I mentioned earlier, this story popped in about mid-February and then immediately disappeared. Right? There's no more coverage of it on corporate media, even though obviously the problem has not been solved. It's still out there. People are still being contaminated. They're still feeding these heavy metals to their babies on a daily basis. So where's the outrage? Where's the media coverage? Well, I'm willing to bet the $20 million roughly that Gerber spends on advertising every 3 months, yeah, that's a lot of money. And it's a lot of money that the corporate media doesn't want to say goodbye to. So obviously they're not going to talk about this issue nonstop. But they should. And that's why we are. And, one of the great things about being here at Ring of Fire is I actually get every day to work around some of the best trial lawyers in the country. That includes, obviously, Mike Papantonio, founder of Ring of Fire here. And I had a conversation with Mike yesterday where we started talking about this story, and he informed me that his firm, Levin Papantonio Rafferty, they're actually working on a major class action to hold these individuals accountable. And the reason they have to do this is because the regulatory agencies here in the United States continue to fail us. They continue to not have our best interests at heart. They continue to be captured by the very companies they're supposed to be regulating. And of course, the corporate media isn't talking about stories like this because they depend on the advertising dollars from these very same corporations. But folks, this is an issue that has not gone away. And it is not going to go away until these corporations are held accountable. And I am exceedingly proud and honored to actually be a part of this group with Mike Papantonio, knowing that he is actually out there, he and his law partners and other folks, I believe the folks at Top Class Actions are getting involved in this. And you'll remember we were heavily involved with them for a while. This is phenomenal. And it's groups like these, it's the trial lawyers, it's the advocates. Those are the ones out there making change. Because we can't depend on the FDA to do it. We can't depend on the Obama administration or Trump administration or Biden administration or even Congress to do anything about this. Sure, it's great that Congress put out this report, but then what? What happens then? They wait for the real heroes to come forward and do the hard work of putting people's lives back together.